of that meeting that I would come and give you quarterly updates on how we were doing, because I wanted you to know that we're doing what we can, we're doing all we can to get this right and get this situated, okay? So when I came in July, as your new pastor, we inherited some things from the refresh. There were a lot of financial challenges and problems, and we set about to start working on those. So this is my first quarterly update to you. I had to wait until we got the December numbers. Okay, we got well, actually, I'll be honest with you, because of the snowfalls and everything else, they really haven't put out the December numbers yet, but I crunched them and I figured out what they were, and this is our best guess, but it's a very educated guess. So next slide. All right, so you see there's September, when we talked at the end of September. We actually didn't have these numbers in September, but at the top you see our income, and this is collection plus online. So every month, that's been our income through the collection. You see how it's kind of been going up every month. And of course, December's an anomaly, right? December, 81,000, that's great. That's awesome. But that doesn't happen. I think Christmas comes once a year, right? We all kind of get into the tax happy mode, and we all kind of make our donations and whatnot. So thank you. Thank you for that. But we know that only happens once a year. So we can look at the average of the other months to kind of get a feel for how we're doing. Our expenses, they've been more than our income, and in part because of some of the challenges we faced. As I said, the Georgia Bulletin came and hit us up for, instead of charging us monthly, all of a sudden this year the Georgia Bulletin decided to go annually, and they hit us with a bill right there for the entire year. We also had some health insurance challenges for one of our employees. We had to make up. We had been sharing him with the school for the last year, and the school hit us up for his benefits, and so we had to catch up on those. We also had the Fall Festival. We had our annual Zoom subscriptions so that we could continue to do our Bible studies, et cetera, et cetera. We had to fix the corner of the office, which was falling down onto the lines, the phone lines going into the office, and was chancing to rip those out of the building. We also had to do the smoke detectors and the fire alarms in here. We talked about that. That was an insurance issue. When they painted, after the refresh, before I got here, they painted over our fire equipment, and it was no longer operable, right? And so we were a fire hazard here, but we've gotten that fixed and updated. We had our Amazon Prime business fee annual thing. We updated our parish website. Hopefully you've seen that. Right? When I got here, the website in July was still stuck on Holy Week, right? And so we went and built a whole new website, and we got that online. But all these things cost money, and so you see how our expenses. Now, if you look at November, that's probably the greatest sense of where we are, because November we didn't have any big, mysterious, sudden bills that we had to pay, right? And I'm very frugal. I try to be very frugal. So November is really kind of a good sense of where we're at, right? We got the bills down to $49,000 for that month, which means then that, you know, in November and December, we actually were in the positive, which is good news. That's where you want to be. That's where we're headed, okay? Now, our assets is what we have. Our operating is really our checking account, and our capital reserves is really our savings account. Okay, so you've got a checking account. Hopefully you got a savings account. You know what that is, checking and savings. Okay, so together, back in September, we had $91,000. But of course, we were running in the negative for September and October. And so you see it drops in October, starts to pick back up in November. And of course, because of the December generosity of everyone, boom, now we're at $107,000 in our checking and savings. Okay, but our liabilities down below, that's what we owe, okay? And these aren't necessarily bills that are coming due every month. If the men's club, we had a breakfast this morning and they raised, I don't know how much money. We had that steak and chicken dinner a couple months ago, right? If they raise $5,000, they don't hold that in their pocket. They put that in my account, in our account. But it's not our money. It's the men's club's money. And if they come for it, I got to have it, right? So all those liabilities, the parish outreach, their money's in our accounts. The Women's Council, their money's in our accounts, et cetera, right? We talked a little bit about this in September. And so the liabilities, the money that I owe it, which also includes a $50,000 loan that we took from the diocese in order to remain solvent, in order to remain functional, okay? So all of that combined is still sitting at $134,000. Right? So when you do the math, it comes out to negative $26,000, close to $27,000, okay? So we're still kind of in debt